Well, welcome back. And as you can see what I'm holding in my hand, this is variance properties. Variance properties, solutions for real growth. Actually, variance properties, these are guys who take care of your properties. They manage whatever property you have. You have your buildings, you need renovation, you need what? You can always trust them. I can take you through their vision, just a little bit of it. This is their vision. Our aim is to be Africa's most efficient, trusted, and preferred property managers, consultants. And mission statement, our commitment is to revolutionize real estate industry through integrity and provision of solutions that guarantee sustainable financial security to property owners and investors. Just in case you want to reach Variance Property Management Limited, you can get them Rongai Business Center, Church Road, PO Box 59857 00200 Nairobi, Kenya. Tell 254-729-942320. Wow. I'll tell you more about Variance Property Management. Now we're back.
Thank you.
And thank you for staying tuned. Navigating through responsibility. This book looks interesting. It has how many pages? 83, 84. So how do you get your words right? Because I was going through the book, and almost each and every book got their own words. Even if you mean the same word, there's that twist, like it means, how do you get your words right?
Actually, let me say, if you're called as a writer, just the way I am, it works the same way it works with the songwriters. Yes. Or the singers, so to speak. Let me use a word that can easily be understood. Because I don't just write. It's something that props itself up.
It's a talent.
It's a talent, correct.
Wow.
And when it comes, I have to do it at that particular point. Whether I'm in the matatu, whether I'm sleeping, if I'm sleeping, I need to wake up.
So you're driving yourself to Kitengela?
Yes.
You're driving yourself to Mombasa?
Yes.
And something just hit your head. Like, I want to write about this. You pack?
Exactly.
And you start it?
That's exactly what I do.
Did you hear that? It is Jogi. Well, how do we call Jogi in English?
No.
because this writing is like Jogi. You know Jogi. It's something that clicks your head. Boop. And you just have...
It's an inspiration. It's an inspiration. And when the revelation comes, what happens with the revelation? When it comes, that is when you note it down. You fail to note it down at that particular point, and you come back maybe a few days later, you'll not be able to assemble them. So what happens with the writing? When the inspiration comes, even when you are busy doing something, you set it aside, concentrate on that. Even if you just scribble it, then you can later go back and now fine-tune it.
So where were you sitting when navigating through responsibility just clicked to your head?
This one, actually I did this when I was not in Nairobi.
Tell us more about this book.
I was in a place called, a small town called Sega.
Sega.
Sega is in Nyanza, the border of Nyanza and Busia. So that's when the idea hit me. But then when I came back to Nairobi, it's when now I compiled everything out together. So because it deals with more of integrity and responsibility. Because we are living at a time when many people are having integrity issues.
So if someone would come buy this book from you, what impact is it going to create to the reader?
It will help the leader in terms of knowing what is expected of them and what is expected of another person. Yes. So it's some kind of a guide, more so on integrity issues. Yes, because to anyone whom you trust, you entrust.
Wow.
If I don't trust you, I cannot entrust you with anything.
Exactly.
Yes.
You getting it, guys? These are beautiful, wonderful books that you really should take your time to go through them. Overcoming fear. We always have fear. You know.
Some sort.
Yeah. But then, at the end of the day, when you go through this book, at least you'll have a way forward of dealing with your fear in life. Because you know what? In this life, there's something that just brings about fear in you. Whether you like it or not, it's like stress. You're told, oh, you should not be stressed up. But then at the end of the day, there's just one thing that will stress you up. We can't avoid stress, but then at least this is your doctor.
And one more thing, fear is a choice.
Fear is a choice.
You can decide to live in fear
Steve,
or not to live in fear.
so if I fear today, it means I've chosen to be.
Yes.
Try convincing about that.
You can decide not to be afraid. As much as the circumstances are not favorable, you can decide, I'll not operate in fear.
At one point, have you ever gone fearful, like you just fear something, you just get scared? You don't get scared in life?
You fight it out.
So at that point when it hits you, it's
Yes.
a choice.
It's a choice.
Wow,
Yes.
that is so interesting. Now we have our last book here, Unlocking Your Potential. Now this is the greatest book. This has my interest of all. Unlocking Your Potential. Steve, tell me something about this book, or tell your listener about this book.
This book was birthed in 2013. The year 2013. That's when I first conceived the idea. Actually, this is my first book. It was my first book. And I realized that a lot of people are living beyond their ability, their capability. Others because of ignorance. Others because of misunderstanding. Others because of some misconceptions of life. Because they believe, or they assume rather, because so and so never made it in our family, then even them, that is their place. But the fact that you are born more so in a poor neighborhood or setup does not mean that you should end up there. You can do something to turn around your situation. Number two, I believe personally, every person has got potential. There's no single individual who lacks a potential. What counts is how do you get that inner strength out of you? Because many are the plans in a man's heart, but a man of understanding draws it out. Wow. So the issue is, how do you draw out your power? How do you draw out your talent? How do you turn it from a mirage into a reality? And that's what this book is all about.
Hey, we're getting facts right today, and I'm still reminding you that we're still right here on Nyango Media. Keep tuning in, because much bigger, better, entertaining, educative content is just coming up. This just at the beginning. Steve, there are a lot of people outside here who have the urge to become authors. But before we get into that, you are an inspirational speaker. What about your inspirational speaking? Where do you do it? And what are some of the circumstances that push you to do it?
Basically, I used to do a lot of conferences and workshops before the lockdown, because I used to have a slogan by the name TBU, or the build-up.
TBU.
The build-up. The build-up, you cannot build something that is already up. You build something that is still
down.
Down. Yeah. So, and who do you build? You build somebody who feels devastated, someone who feels discouraged, someone who is hopeless. Because the idea is to stir hope. When you stir hope in the heart of somebody, as much as that person was lacking in 1, 2, 3 areas, that hope will propel him to act.
This hope, is it the hope seated here, or?
No. or tumaini in Kiswahili. Let me use Kiswahili.
No, tumaini still it's
Oh,
the
still
translation.
It points back to hope. Okay, actually hope is somebody who is in despair. You're trying to give them hope to act.
Yes.
Because you realize there are lots of guys who are probably seated somewhere, not because they can't, but probably they are fed with the wrong information. Probably they got the wrong training, and as a result, they have not been able to make it. These are the people you need to motivate. As much as you never made it yesterday, you can still make it today.
So what was the reason behind you becoming an inspirational speaker? Because I believe that it's not something that just somebody sleeps overnight, wakes up and, from today, Anyar Konyango, I'm an inspirational speaker, I'm a motivational speaker. There must have something that really pushed you to the corner, that made you sit down and, conceptualize everything and come up with that idea of, I want to instill something in the generation.
Number one, I can begin with my own personal life. Having gone through ups and downs in life, I've hit my rock bottom, and with a constant hope in the future, hope that as much as I'm down, I can rise up again. And in the process, having fought my way up.
Now somebody's watching out
Yes,
there,
yes.
and they really want to get this bit of, when you were down on the rocks. Honestly, at least it can lift up a spirit out there.
Yes.
Share the story.
Okay, I remember one of it was in 2012. I lost my job at the end of 2012, the beginning of 2013. Having lost my job, and I can say my hope was in employment. By then, which I believe there are many of you outside there who maybe at some point have lost their job in the process. And what I know, when I was first employed, I knew I would retire in the year 2032, so to speak. But here comes a situation where your life is suddenly cut off. You don't have a home, you don't have a business, you have a wife and a daughter to feed, you have yourself to feed, you have bills to meet. What do you do? And the truth is, for like 1 month, it was hell. It was hell, because within that 1 month, I kind of cleared my resources and I was left with nothing. But then there's one of my in-laws, Justice Wasilwa, actually came into my rescue.
Justice Wasilwa.
Yes.
Call us out.
Yeah, and I remember she gave us some little money to begin a business. I've never done business before. And from that little money of 10,000.
So what was the business that you came up with? Because you had never ventured into any business.
Yes.
Now your in-law comes to your rescue, tells you, Steve, you know what? I can aid this. Now have this. And you start up a business.
She was like, tell me what you can do. By then I didn't have any idea, because I was going through pain and frustration. And the worst bit of, just to encourage somebody, when somebody goes through an issue in life, it's not always right to come up with a lot of questions in that respect, because you realize when somebody loses a job or goes through things in life, it's like somebody who has been wounded. Now, when you come with an accusing finger towards that person, you're not doing that person any good.
It's
because you're like pouring salt on the wound. And having gone through that, I realized there are a lot of people who are going through issues, not just work. They have suffered in one way or another in life. And when you suffer and you don't have a shoulder to lean on, somebody to turn on, if you're not careful, it can take you off. It can take you 6 feet under. It can take you to the clubs. It can cause you to run berserk. And that is the reason why I felt it in me to stand up for people going through pain in life. Because I've gone through that. If it's losing employment, I've lost employment. If it is losing money, I've lost money. If it is an issue of being conned, I've been conned. If it is the issue of losing parents, I've lost parents. Yes, but that never stopped me from trying again, because the issue is starting again. The strong, they don't just wake up strong. Even the strong, they have tripled 1, 2, 3 times. And even the Bible says, the righteous may fall 7 times, but he rises again.
Wow.
So the issue is not on disappointment. Yes, you go through disappointment in life, but the fact that you go through a disappointment does not mean you remain or you stay in the disappointment. The fact is, the disappointment is just an illuminator. It's like something that brings some kind of sanity in your mind. I never made it. Perhaps I can try another channel. So the idea was birthed through that experience. This shop was a very small shop. I began importing eggs from Uganda and selling them to Kenya, which grew into a big thing. And when I saw it work...
How many crates did you begin with?
I began with only 50. 50 trays, they call them
trays.
trays.
The trays,
yes, just one box. And from that it was able to birth.
So is it a business that still exists to date?
No, that was just a transition. Yes. Actually, it's immediately after that business that I wrote this book.
So it's a proof that actually situation changes.
Situation changes.
Now, Steve, very fast, there's this young person out there, there's this youth who is struggling to make ends meet, and maybe they have, the urge, the desire as yours to become an author, but you see the obstacles, because you see, you could be having the content, you can't put it down, but now, for it to reach the public, to be read, so that at least somebody can know what you are thinking, somebody can get inspired. What can you what can you tell to that person? Because most of them get discouraged on the way.
First and foremost is to begin from where you are. Begin from where you are. Don't fear starting. Don't wait until you have like 500,000 to write. Because I remember when the idea was first birthed in me to begin my writing, the first 3 people I met broke my heart. Because they were like, you can't do this thing without 300,000. And by then you're operating in the 3 digits. Diaphragm, if you get what I mean. But then I never stopped trying, because the fire to write was in me. So the issue is, listen to your heart, listen to your spirit. Go where your spirit is pushing you. Begin with what you have. Don't look at the resources that you have. Those ones will constrain you.
Now, I think we're going on a short break, and we come back with we are picking it from there. And we're still reminding you here on Nyango Media, and keep on tuning in. I'm here with my guest, Stephen L Omondi, author, inspirational speaker.